Why is it important to watch this video? As a result of watching this video, you understand how to achieve your goals much faster and easier, and you won't spend any money. It took me years of my life to come to this, thanks to its many years of experience in business and thanks to the fact that I filled a bunch of bumps in my life and faced with many difficulties. Now I tell you, if you know this, I guarantee you that you will spend many times less effort and you will achieve your goals much faster. Goals. The main problem of all people is that when they want something they put it goals after they set goals. Some plan, some don't plan, but they start right away. Act well. Of course there is a category, people who don't act and accordingly they never do anything. The thing is that I've seen a lot people who achieved their goals even without realizing or not knowing how to do it, but I have never seen people who knew how to do it but didn't do it and achieved it. That is, action is the most important condition for achieving any goal. All people live in a paradigm such that if you want something, you definitely need something. But the problem is that you don't. You live in a vacuum. You live in a world, dynamic world, which every day your circle is changing. There are a lot of other people around you whose interests, their wishes, their own. I have wishes about this concept movement, which I like her named in order to make it easier to understand from what it consists of. The thing is that when you are in this world, you have on this world impact. What is it? Manifests itself. Even suppose you sitting somewhere on the couch right now. On the sofa, you put pressure on the sofa. You are being pressed through the sofa. You take someone's place and it's for someone. Like or dislike doesn't even matter. By doing, you have an impact on this. Your impact on this world automatically summons three powers. First, this is the opposition. These are the forces that are directly directed against your action. This is, in my opinion, the second or third law. Newton. To any directed force acts in the opposite direction. Force and the same force is even physics confirms. Therefore, any of yours impact on this world causes strength. Counteraction is the first force. Second, any of your actions or impact on this world evokes the power of assistance. These are those forces that assist you well. Let's take this as an example so that it is absolutely. I see you're planning to go to the cinema with may turn out to be friends that the wife will be against it. She can say, no, let's go with you today. We'll have dinner with friends or family there. So you caused a counterforce then. At the same time, you may have strength. Promoting children can shout, hooray, hooray. Dad, let's go to the movies. Great idea. So how you have the power of assistance. And there is a third force. This is the force interaction. She usually neutral. This, for example, it could be yours. Terrence, who watch with a smile. The way you discuss where to go when you are going towards your goal. You must take into account these forces are counteracting forces and interaction forces, and at the same time forces. There will always be opposition too. You didn't always contribute forces either. There will always be a main struggle. Turns around by pulling on his side of the interaction force or neutral forces, in this case, or the example I gave you. If you can drag your parents to yours side, then your wife will accept your decision. So take into account every time you bet for your goals. Consider these three forces that always appear when you set or want to achieve something. Or let's take another example. The point is that a lot of young people come to me, entrepreneurs, especially startups in it sphere, and they ask me for investment. Every time they ask me investments, they show me charts. Where was their growth then? This is where I invest and they have growth. Begins. This is how I always laugh and I say, why should there be growth? After me, it is impossible to make it so. Height up to me so you can walk like this. That's how they started to grow, and then it was just me. I invest, in which they also laugh and they say, no, we will take your money. We will spend on marketing. We'll lower the price. We'll beat our competitors, and so on. On and on and on. And in such cases I say, I'm right here with my skin. I feel that at this very time yours competitors are sitting somewhere with others investors, and they tell the same thing. And because you all want it, make your efforts easy, cancel each other, and this happens because you don't take into account the action of external forces. You think that you live in a vacuum, so in order to do not waste your energy in vain, you must clearly understand when you are planning something, what counterforces will there be, forces of assistance, and what forces, interactions you should win over to your side. Therefore, Always take these three forces into account when goal setting and before you start. Generally move towards your second very important thing when striving or moving to the goal that you should consider this. Taking into account external forces, unfortunately, many people do not take into account this component, and this probably the most important thing in achieving goals. Let's imagine this situation. When you are floating on a river and one is rowing against currents, work day and night 24/7 and stands still. The other doesn't row, but gets up the wrong current and he was carried into the other side, and the third you are sitting in boat and rows only when necessary to catch the correct flow. So if you take all the way to his goal, what do you think? How long does it usually work? It works no more than 20% of the time. 80% of the time, or 80% of energy spent when achieving a goal. External forces. He uses external forces. He uses not his powers, but his powers who help him, or the forces of assistance. Therefore, it is very important to remember this and use when moving towards your goal. Or let's take another example. Let's take the example of fishing alone and the fisherman. For example, he came, cast a fishing rod and sat. He's just fishing for someone else's luck. The fisherman came and cast 5 fishing rods with different attachments and so on. There are more chances. And the third fisherman has studied everything. He clearly understands the weather pressure. What kind of fish he fishes, he knows how. This fish loves the bait and he came to that. A pond full of these fish. How are you? Who do you think has a better chance? Of course, the third person. Why? Because he has arrived. He is moving towards his goal. Taking into account external circumstances for him, 80% of the work is performed by at least external circumstances. What he does, he only takes the fishing rod nozzle correctly, plants, throws and sits and waits. After all, the rest is done by external forces. Therefore, you can move towards your goal without taking into account external forces and without taking into account external circumstances. Believe me, you will spend a lot of energy, a lot of strength to overcome external resistance too. I spent a lot of money to get to this point. Years of life has accomplished a huge amount. Mistakes to arrive at these truths. And tell me how this principle. Learn to find external forces in for ordinary purposes. For example, I have a task. Build your own country house for your family. How can I learn to see here external forces what they can be? Well, for example, you want to build yourself country house. What kind of forces can there be? Counteraction is necessary. First of all, start with them because they are in plain sight and they are easy to see depending on where you want them. Build you want if they're next to national park or some other an ecologically clean area. It is clear that most likely there will be some environmentalists there, activists who will be against you. There may be some neighbors who don't. They want someone to build next to them. The same time you have the power of assistance. Well, I see. This is your family. These are city people, authorities who may want you landscape there or in that area and so on. Then they can be the staff if you are there. Propose to build a cottage together, village or shareholders who are ready together with you to build something there, develop and so on. And at the same time, you have the strength. Interaction is a bunch people who look at it neutrally. These may be the same subscribers in social networks, or are you just show your project, show benefits of this project, and in every possible way try to lure the public opinion is on your side. Thanks to that you have powers of assistance and strength. Interaction who is ready to stand up for you and who are ready to defend this project. It will be easier for you to overcome everything resistance. Moreover, I'll tell you this. This is from a treatise on the art of war, Susa. And there is a cool phrase where it says, the bad general is the one who wins. The good general in battles is the one who wins without fighting. That is, you must attract such forces to your side with whose fight with you loses its meaning and the opposing forces just give up. Do you know how in physics, or I don't know, probably in the resistance of materials, such a concept as a turning point? When you take metal, it bends, 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 bends. Oppression, he resists, then resists. At some point, you end everything when easy. That's important when you move towards the goal and have it on your side. So much strength that provides. You have this turning point at which your competitors and your enemies, or unkind, unfriendly, just refer. Don't fight. This is the most ideal thing. State of use of external forces. If you do everything through force, This is especially bad when you are not. Take into account all this whole alignment. External forces, when you fight it's easy. You're like a squirrel in a wheel all day. You fight like the heads of Zmi Goranich. Problems grow and grow and grow and grow. Problems you cut off one head and it grew. Two new ones are unfortunately what? Engaged in by most people and root. The reason is that they started their own business without taking into account external forces, and I'm sure every person has had something like this in their life. Situations when you have something to do. It happened at the snap of a finger. Some things that you, for example, consider important, maybe you just fight resist it. Comes with such hard work and you don't. Do you understand why this happens to me? Unfortunately, there were a lot of people like that in life too. Cases, and I noticed about myself when I analyzed all my past experiences. I noticed that exactly where I took into account external forces, everything happened to me easy to play, and I even had the feeling of such easy money, and in fact they are not easy quantity. The energy that was spent on it, it was just as easy to earn them. I didn't do most of the work. But external force, and I ask you, tell us about yours in the comments. Stories, it will be very interesting to read. And let's discuss the main idea there. My point in this video is that to draw your attention and your focus precisely for these things, and in order to clearly distinguish between them in your life, requires a certain amount of vigilance. So read the comments, look how it happened for others. People, and you will see what forces there are. Counter forces, what are the forces? Assistance, and how they can be used in its benefit. And now question arises, how to act correctly to achieve your goals. So that's why to achieve your goals, first of all, number one, what you should do it, correct your intention or determine your intention. The problem is that many people set goals for themselves but don't determine intention. And what is intention? Intention is a declaration to the Almighty about your true goals. Look what happens when you set a goal. There is a goal, and the one you declare outwardly. There is a goal that you have within yourself. You pursue this intention. This is about internal goal, about what you are in really want. Why intention has such importance? The thing is that come to someone goals, it is very important that you have complete agreement between your rational brain and your subconscious. If it doesn't, agreement between your rational brain and subconsciously, the probability of achieving goals are practically 0, because that your subconscious turns into strength. Counteraction, remember what I mean, and said these forces of assistance, counteraction and interaction, they occur not only in the outside world, they happen inside you too. So when set a goal, be sure to set yours intention. Write down your intention. For example, in my practice I noticed this thing I'm doing educational platform. I noticed such a thing that when we have indicators started to fall, I came to the company and I tell my executive director, look, we need to correct our intentions. Somewhere our intention went astray, and my intention all along was to teach like this. People, and thanks to this make money, but at some point we started to go off course and started make money by studying, and it is quite another thing to train people and make money from this. Thanks to this, making money from teaching is another matter. Intention is what tells you where to go. Your soul is directed if your intention train people, and thanks to this, earn then your soul, all your fibers. Your soul is aimed at learning, and if your intention to earn money from teaching, then all your fibers are directed only at money and not a word about people. Well, yours is formed accordingly. Behavior, therefore, any of your actions, if it has the wrong intention, then believe me, you will not have any repeat purchases or regular customers. No loyal customers, and customer dissatisfaction is also not. Will therefore, first of all, before achieve any goal, write on a piece of paper what is your true intention. First moment, second moment, after that, how did you determine your true intention? To take into account external strength by asking yourself 3 questions. First question, is this the right time to do this? If we remember, as a fisherman, it's probably not the best time to go to lunch. The best idea is that the fish usually bite either in the morning or in the evening. Therefore, you need to ask yourself, question is correct, is this the right time? In order to do this, it concerns not only fishing, this applies to everything in life. Second question is whether it's right. Where I am for this action is. If we go back to fishing, then the correct place is determined. The presence of a reservoir with fish in the right. Is it a cool place I'm in? And the third question you should ask, Are the circumstances shaping up? My benefit. If we take the example from fishing, you need to look at the shore. Are there any comfortable bodies of water there? Approaches. How is the weather generally in your favor? Or no wind, and so on and so on. And in life too, you can look at mood of society, look where to. In general, the policy goes on and on and on. With taking into account all these circumstances, you can understand that circumstances are in your favor, add up or not. Therefore, after that, how did you decide on your intention? You need to clearly understand which direction external forces work by setting 3 questions, and after you have determined this second part is taking into account external forces, then it's time for drawing up a plan, and this plan takes into account the first your intentions, the second taking into account external forces, and your third actions. And after that, please act, and yes, good luck will be with you. All life hacks and my knowledge that I gained from your experience about how to effectively achieve your goals. I usually give goals in the Telegram, so follow the link below. And the main thing is not to forget such things that we don't live in a vacuum, we live in a dynamic environment, we live in a society. Society is the totality of all people who have their wishes, they have their own goals, they also move towards their goals, and your task is not to fight them. Therefore, remember, you don't live in a vacuum. Second, remember that the most important external force in this world is the Almighty. Therefore, correct your intention or write it down, your true intention, because you will achieve exactly your true intentions and not your goals. It is important that your intentions and goals coincided. And the third moment, be sure to take into account external forces, because without taking into account external forces, you will just row D for by 7 against currents, and then compose, plan and act on your health. Good luck to you, and have a happy life.